Hello, beautiful people. I hope all is well. I hope all is well. Oh, the volume's up. I've been keeping the volume down all day today because I've been on the phone, rocking with the baby. Don't need to disrupt and wake her up. So, hello, everyone. I hope all is well. My name is Alison. I'm a certified dating and relationship coach. I primarily work with singles to help them find the love and commitment that they deserve. So I've been out on maternity leave for the last 6 weeks. I have now relaunched my business. I am here. I've been keeping up with the live Q&As, which I know you guys appreciate every Wednesday. But besides that, I'm really making sure that I reach out to those who are in my community, the coaching community, the mental health community space, so that we can share information and knowledge around this topic of dating and relationships, because it's always a hot topic. If you are new to my page, if this is the first time that you have joined, I want you to go ahead and introduce yourself. Let us know who you are and where you are from so that we can welcome you appropriately. Hello, Butter Pecan Mama. How are you? Miss 205, Bella B, Chris, Wayne, Stacy, Busy B, how are you? We have Fleur Delise. We have the Healing Space app. Hello, hello. Queen B, Wolf Den, Josh Shamel. Hello, everyone. Hi, Jay. How are you, boo? Crystal, Latoya, Erica, Alexi. Hello, everybody. And our guest is here. So we're going to go ahead and let him enter this space so that we can start talking about kind of the more of the perspective of men. Obviously, you guys follow me, and obviously I am a woman. And so a lot of my advice is geared towards women because that's my audience. 82% of my audience are female. But I think it's important that we hear from men, and from reasonable men who are logical, who are fair, and who are willing to have conversations so that we can improve the status of our relationships. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and let SD formally struggling today, formally of what he really means. And recently had to change his name, so he's going to tell us the whole story. Hello,
What's
SD,
up?
sir. How are
What's
you
happening?
today?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm fine. I'm fine. Let's jump right in because it's
Good.
late and I'm tired.
All right, let's
So
do
let
it.
us and I'm on the East Coast. It's 8 o'clock for me. Where are you?
It's all good. I'm in Chicago.
Chicago. All right. Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. So first, SD, let us start with who you are and what you do.
I'm the whole phase expert. I talk about the male whole phase, because that's when women meet men. A lot of women meet men during the male whole phase, which I say is from like 18 to 35 mainly.
Mm-hmm.
So I made my page to kind of help women identify these men, to avoid these men, if those are the men they want to avoid, how they operate and how they think, and to help women get out of their way and let them know the mistakes that they make when they choose the whole phase men, and the mistakes that they make when they finally do meet a quality man.
All right. So I think that this is amazing. I'm so glad that you're willing to talk about it. But before we can get into the mistakes, because everyone loves that,
Hmm.
they want the top 3 mistakes, what to avoid, all that good stuff, right? Before we get
Hmm.
into that, how are you the expert, SD? Can you give us a little background on perhaps what your phase looked like? Because we can't believe it unless you've been through it.
Hey, it's all good. I I was in my whole phase from like 18 to 35, 17, 18 to 35.
Mm-hmm.
It was, when a man is in his whole phase, it's exciting, it's addicting, it's fun, it's all of those things, along with a lot of drama and a lot of nonsense and different things that we create with the things that we do. So when a man is in his whole phase, there's two types of men in their whole phase. You got the F boy. That's the man that lies, deceives, and pretend to be something he not in order to get sex. And
Mm-hmm.
then you got the player. The player gonna tell you, hey, what it is and what it ain't. He gonna let you know, hey, I don't want no relationship. I got a girl, I got a wife, whatever the case. He's gonna tell you what it is and allow you to make your mind up. But both men their main focus is to get sex.
Mm-hmm.
That's the main focus of those men. And I did both. I was a F boy that was lying and doing all that till I was about maybe 22, something like that, 23. And then I changed over into a player because I got into my career early and I started making money. So it was like I didn't really have to lie about having money and lie about certain things at that particular
Mm-hmm.
point. So I kind of transitioned over to the player, and then I did that until I just got tired of the drama and the nonsense that I was creating, like I said. So, you know, that's my resume. I'm
Okay, all right.
qualified.
You're qualified. All right. And you have 20 years, damn near 20 years experience. So you're qualified.
Yeah.
I'm seeing some comments though, and I'm seeing some people talk about that they've experienced, or at least what they feel is, and you're going to give us more definition and understanding. What they feel is a man who's in his whole phase in his 40s and 50s. So
Mm-hmm.
I know you said it stops normally around 35. What would cause a man in his 40s and 50s to still either be the F boy or to potentially be the player?
Because he really enjoys the life. He enjoys being single more than he enjoys being in a relationship. He
Mm-hmm.
enjoys doing his own thing when he want to do it with who he want to do it with, and ain't
Mm-hmm.
nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with a man, no matter when he wants to be a hoe and go through his whole phase. If that's what he wants to do with his life, then that's his business. The only problem is when it's deceitful. That's the
Mm-hmm.
only problem that I have with it when you lying and hiding certain things. But if you are upfront and living your life how you want to live it, go ahead. But men typically get out of that. Some men, not all of them, right around the 35, 36. That's why I tell women you shouldn't even start dating a man until after he's 35. Because before that, it's almost 100% chance that he is a hoe or he going to go through his whole phase while he with you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the older a man gets, he kind of slows down and wants to settle down and gets tired of the life and all those types of things. But you do have men that don't get tired of it. They
Mm-hmm.
enjoy it and never want to really settle down with a woman. So you still have to vet the men that you're talking to. You just can't go into it blindly. Like, oh, he over 35. Let me talk to him.
Right.
You still got to do your homework.
Understood. Alrighty. So you're saying that generally speaking, based on your experience,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of men go through this whole phase. It could be for months, years between that 18 to 35. And so your
Yeah,
recommendation would be to date gentlemen, at least begin to get serious and still do your vetting at the 35. But what advice would
absolutely.
you offer to much younger women? So a woman who's 21, 22, are you still saying dating a man, or at least considering dating an older man, would be in her best interest?
Um, if she wants something serious,
Mm-hmm.
yes. I
Mm-hmm.
understand that the age difference would probably be an issue for most people at that young age, but you know, if she go date young, she might as well get her tissue ready because them eyes gonna be watery. She gonna
Mm-hmm.
get her heart broken. It's inevitable
Mm-hmm.
because the men that women want go are going to go through a whole phase. It's just that simple.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I like to say that there's four types of men. You got your current hoes, those the men that's out here doing their thing out here in the game. You got
Mm-hmm.
your retired hoes. Those guys are a little older, tired of the game and all that stuff. You got the guys that's gonna be hoes. Those are the dudes that was probably maybe out of shape and maybe a little lame when they were younger, and then they got themselves in shape and kind of getting personality. So now they getting attention from women and they turn into hoes, or they got married too young when they weren't ready, when they tried to
Mm-hmm.
suppress it, and then they turn into hoes later on. And then you got the fourth guy is the guy that absolutely cannot be a hoe because women aren't checking for him. He's like a chess champion, or he wears Velcro Skechers or something like that. And he play video games 23 hours out of the day. The women
Mm-hmm.
ain't really checking, or he's super unattractive or really, really broke. Women ain't checking for them types of dudes anyway, so they can't be hoes, and women don't want them.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
that's that.
So as the whole phase expert, do you
Mm-hmm.
have any expertise on the whole phase for women? Does it exist and what does it look like?
I did a survey on it, and 75, I think, percent of women said that they do go through a whole phase. And I really don't know what it looks like from a woman's point of view. I
Mm-hmm.
really don't get into, I just, take surveys and different things like that, but I can't really speak intelligently on why those women do it. One
Mm-hmm.
thing that I have noticed from women that are proud hoes, that speak up about what they do and sleeping with all these here men, one thing that's kind of in common is no real father figure in their life. That's like a common theme. Not saying that that's all women, but that's a common thing that I've noticed with those types of women, and they are really, really damaged women.
Okay. So
Yeah.
would you say then, or is it fair to say that if we're saying that a lot of the women who have proudly expressed that they call themselves hoes, they're willing to say it, whatever, that they
Mm-hmm.
tend to not necessarily have a male influence, is that the same thing for the male hoe? Is there anything that's broken or problematic or not worked out, or any kind of trauma that causes the man to go through a similar process?
Not necessarily. Men just do it. Men just do it. It's, you know what I'm saying? It's a problem for all men. Most men, if they can be a hoe, they're gonna be it. You know what I'm saying? I grew up in a two-parent household. Both my parents still married 40 years. My grandparents were still married, for my grandfather passed 60 some years. And a lot of my guys did too. And it was just something that we just, it was like a burning, it was like a rage in us with the hormones, the immaturity, the selfishness, all of those things coupled in as a young man drives us down that path to wanting multiple women and getting women all the time. It's just one of those things that just happens. Do some men have issues in the home? Yeah, they got issues in the home like anybody else. But I just think that it's a thing that a lot of men just naturally go through. That's why so many men struggle with it. Married men, men in relationships, older men, younger men, because it's something that, you know what I'm saying, that just builds up in a lot of men and they can't control it.
Understood. So again, before we get to the do's and don'ts, because I know that's what a lot of folks want to get out of this, right? How to avoid, how to notice and peep and vet. My question to you though is, when a man is going through this whole phase, either we talked about the F-boy who's dishonest or the player who is forthcoming, right? What is their logic for why this behavior is acceptable? Is there logic that comes in to say, I have a right to behave this way, either lie or lie to the wife? Even if you're being honest to the other chick, you're still lying to somebody. Is there a logic or a reason that they find is acceptable?
No, man, it's just really selfishness. That's really what it's all about. It's all about wanting what you want and not caring about anybody else and what they're going through. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times when a dude is going through that phase, he ain't really thinking about nobody but himself. That's why he'll put women in certain positions. He'll lie to them. He'll deceive them. He'll pretend to be something and have them in unfavorable situations. And he don't think really nothing of it. And he'll walk away from it with no qualms about it. He ain't gonna think twice about it, because in that phase of our life, we're so immature, we're so selfish, and we're so driven by our hormones that we don't consider anybody else's feelings other than our own. And we don't really think about it in a logical sense, like, oh man, I'm being bad out here, I should be doing this. Like, most men are so hormonally driven that they don't even think about that.
But what about, I know you just answered this question, I'm going to push back and ask the same question again.
Go
But
ahead.
what about when it's done to them? Like, there is this whole ideology behind, a man may cheat on his woman, but if that woman sends a text message that's too flirtatious, and she even dreams of getting coffee with the guy, he loses his shit. So where does the logic come in with that? Is it, I'm a man, so I'm allowed? Like, what is it?
Well, because I think it's because of how most women carry themselves when it comes to dealing with other men, talking to other men, having sex, especially having sex with another dude. Most women don't carry themselves like men. You know what I'm saying? Most men, especially whole phase men, are really promiscuous. You know what I'm saying? Like, and are free with sex, to where dudes get out here in the whole phase and they jumping from chick to chick to chick to chick, smashing them, right? Most women don't jump from dick to dick to dick. Like, most women don't do that. So they carry themselves a certain way. So as a man, when a woman does that, you know what I'm saying? You like the audacity of you. This is not how you act. As a man, we rationalize it because we like, this is what we do, right? And for a woman, that's not what you do. And most women have to create a bond with a guy in order to cheat. They have to create a bond with a guy in order to cheat. Whereas a man, he don't have to create no bond. He ain't got to know her name. He ain't got to be attracted. All he got to know is she's willing to give him the nut. And dudes will do it and not think twice about it. So men know, especially when they have a woman, how she is as a woman, and know that she is created or is trying to create a bond, and he's not doing that. So I don't know if you saw, and I'm gonna jump to this real fast. It was a clip with Ray J and his wife where she
I
was
saw
saying,
it.
"Hey, I'm talking to this guy," and he's like, "What you mean you talking to this guy? So what if I got a head from a random chick in the alley? I didn't know this chick. I wasn't trying to get with her." That's how men, whole phase men, think about it, because for us, there is no feeling, there is no bond when we, most times out there in our whole phase, there is nothing but the nut, and that's all we thinking about. Whereas the woman typically has to create a bond in order to let a man enter her space, especially when she got a man. So men can't handle it. Not saying it's right, because it's not. It's wrong, whichever way you try to spin it as a man. But that's just how most men rationalize it. I want to make that clear.
I appreciate that. So I just want to clarify something. Under normal circumstances, I don't address negative comments, but I think it's important that I clarify that as long as we stay in our bubble of what we believe is appropriate or fair or right, and as long as we don't have conversations with other people who have a different opinion, then we're going to end up in the same position that we're always in. So I see some folks who are not very fond of our conversation today, but as long as you choose to turn your ears off to the opinions and thoughts and experiences of others, you're going to end up in the same spot that you're always in. So this is why I'm having a conversation with SD, because there's lots of things that SD has said that I don't agree with, but he's a reasonable person. Right. I think SD, you would agree with. I'm a reasonable person. You might not agree, but I'm reasonable, right? He's a reasonable person who is sharing the thoughts, logic, and experience of others. And even if you don't like it or you don't agree with it, it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. He's not saying it's right. He's not saying it's wrong. He is sharing based on his experience and the experience of all of the gentlemen that he has interacted with, the podcast that he's on. So this is what it is. You don't have to like it, but this is what it is. So let's deal with it. Let's understand each other so that we can grow from there. All right? All right, SD.
Go ahead.
Talk to us about, you said something that was so key. You said something about, one of the things you talk about on your page is how to identify the whole phase man, or a man who's going through the phase at that time in his life. So can you tell us more about that? Like, how do we identify, what are the red flags?
All right, a couple red flags I give you. One of them a lot of men do is love bombing. A lot of men love bomb women and tell them things that they can't possibly know or possibly want to do in such a short period of time. And most times it's before they have had sex with the woman, because it's kind of like a fast track to the panties, right? Because women love to hear what they want to hear. A lot of women, they love to hear about marriage, they love to hear about kids, and they love to hear about relationships. And men, as men, we know that because we study you all so much from when we start dating, that we know these things about you. So a lot of dudes will love bomb you, man, almost immediately. Man, I see you as a wifey. You a wifey. I would marry you. I don't know how a dude ain't wifed you yet. I would. I want you to have my baby. And you known this fool 2 weeks. Or I'll take you to Jamaica. You so fine. I'll take you to Jamaica. And you only known him 3 weeks. This man don't know you from a can of paint. So there has to be something behind it. He don't know if you prioritize your life well. He don't know if you're a good mom. He don't know if your work ethic is good, if you even want to be a wife or a helpmate or any of these things. But he's telling you that he'll wife you and he only known you 2 weeks. If that don't throw up red flag, I don't know what else does. What else we got? Rushing. Like, that's kind of going to love bombing, but wanting to be in relationships real soon. Without knowing you, like asking you, to be in relationships and maybe even want to get engaged, and he only known you a month. Like, that should really throw up red flags. It's something there that he's doing, that he's trying to do. That's why he's trying to rush. It could be the sex, and most times it's the sex. What else? Being flashy. Being flashy is a red flag sign for women when a man is in his whole phase, because flashy men with flashy things bring easy women.
Mm-hmm.
And so men don't do it for other men. They don't go and wear the 15 gold chains and the diamond watch and show off a stack full of money on their Instagram and take pictures in front of their car for men. They
Mm-hmm.
doing it because it brings easy women. So that's an easy one to go with. So those just a few.
Okay, and that's what we need to look out for if we're concerned that the gentleman that we're seeing, ladies, the gentleman that we're seeing might be in that phase. Okay, and
And
you
his age.
also, mhm,
And his age.
and the age. Now,
And
you
his
also
age.
said something else that was key, where you talked about the mistakes that women are making after they've dated a whole phase man. So they've gone through
Yeah.
this experience, potentially they're heartbroken, and I'm
Yeah.
assuming they're bringing some kind of baggage. So can you talk to us a little bit
Yeah.
about that?
Yeah, a lot of times women mainly deal with whole phase men. If you just ask the women, they'll tell you about all the guys that they dealt with that was players, that was hoes, that was doing this, doing that, playing these games. So a lot of times women become conditioned to those types of men, right? So now when they finally do meet a quality man, now they have things that they say they just won't do. I ain't cooking for no man. The last man I cooked for, he didn't appreciate it. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not being submissive for no man. The last man I was with, the last few men, he didn't appreciate it. Or they want to play little games. I'm not gonna call him back for 3 days. I'm not gonna text him and see how he doing. Forget that. I'm gonna let him do this here. Like they play these little games, and the problem with that is that the quality men that know their place out here, that's got their head on straight, got their lives in order, they aren't gonna play these little games with you.
Mm-hmm.
They aren't gonna sit back and wait for you to text him 3 days and know that you playing these little games. He's just not gonna do it. He's looking for a certain type of woman to compliment him. He's
Mm-hmm.
not going to be a certain way towards you and say, you know what, if she get a flat tire, I'm not gonna go and get her or go change her tire because my exes did this. No, he's not gonna do that. So he's not gonna accept that type of treatment from you towards him because
Mm-hmm.
he didn't cause this baggage that you got. These the whole phase men cause that baggage. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times it's hard for a woman to trust a man and let that stuff go because they've dealt with it for so long. And
Mm-hmm.
it's understandable. But they also have to know when to drop that type of stuff because quality men just won't put up with things that a whole phase man will because a whole phase man, he don't care if you don't have wifely qualities.
Mm-hmm.
He don't care if you
Is he not
got a
trying to wife
bad
you?
attitude.
Right.
He's not. He don't care if you got a bad attitude. He don't care if you hate the word submissive. He don't care if you won't cook or you won't do anything for a man. He don't care. All he want to know is what color your nipples are. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's all he want to know. Whereas the quality man, he wants to see these wifely qualities in you, just like you want to see the husbandly qualities in him.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes both ways, but a lot of women mess it up, um, because they done dealt with so many whole phase men.
Understood.
Yeah.
So I know that we talked about, I'm going back to the age range for a second, about 18 to 35. And again,
Hmm.
let's stress this, because I saw it in the comments earlier that said, oh no, now I have to wait 10 years to date. I'm assuming she's 25. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is that the phase happens during that time. The phase could be months long. The phase could be years. We're not saying every man is a hoe from his 18th birthday to his 35th. We're saying that many times that exploration
Hmm.
may happen during that time. And perhaps as a woman, you should date men who are a little older because those men tend to have outgrown it. Am I clear on that? I just want to make sure that we're on the same page.
Yeah, women on average date like marry like 7 years older.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, women typically like older men anyway,
Mm-hmm.
because and men typically like younger women because the older men typically have what women want the most that are
Mm-hmm.
looking for marriage. They should have the maturity. They should have the stability, not just mentally, but they should also have the financial stability once they
Mm-hmm.
get older. They got things, man, and they are a lot wiser. They should be. Their work ethic is different. How they treat women is different a lot of times. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And women enjoy that grown man type thing from a man that's older. So women, on average, typically date older anyway. So I think women, you know what I'm saying, should date older men anyway. So
Understood. So now someone brought this up in the comments, and I've always had a hard time answering this question.
hmm
How does a woman balance the why buy the cow if you can get the milk for free? So we talked about exuding
hmm
these wifely behaviors, right?
yeah,
But how do we balance it between, okay, I do want to show that I'm valuable and I can add something to
hmm
this relationship and we can build together. But at the same
yeah.
time, I don't want this person to feel like they're getting the best of me without the commitment. How do we balance the two?
Well, I think that you got to look at it, man, and be sensible the way you look at it, right? And by that I mean because when most women today say these wifely things, these wifely duties, and all this here, they typically mention cooking and cleaning.
Mm-hmm.
Those be the main things that they mention. And I like to say, well, wait a minute now. Now, can I? And I'm gonna just say this: you over here giving this man sloppy top 5 days a week,
Mm-hmm.
but you won't put him no broccoli in the pot.
Mm-hmm.
Putting him some broccoli in a pot is a wifely duty, but you busting it open for him 5 days a week ain't. So you're okay with that, but not putting the broccoli, putting them a frozen pizza in the oven. It just don't make no sense. And
Mm-hmm.
secondly, most people that are married have sex before they marry.
Mm-hmm.
So the guy, in essence, buys the cow a lot of times from people that are married. Like, so
Mm-hmm.
it's not the whole theory that why buy the cow when you're getting the milk for free. Most of the time, the women are talking about sex, right? And if you
Well,
just,
no, I don't think so. They're talking
you don't
about
think so?
the cooking, the cleaning,
Okay.
the child rearing, and sex. Yes.
But child rearing, I'll give them. But at
Mm-hmm.
the same time, those women are perfectly fine accepting things from a man that are would be considered more husbandly duties, whether it's the provision or whether it's the protecting her or whatever the case. They'll be just fine accepting those things from a man. So it should be reciprocated. It shouldn't
Mm-hmm.
just be you doing things for this dude. You know what I'm saying? That you would consider wifey things. This dude should also be doing things for you that would be considered husbandly things. If
Mm-hmm.
you got a flat on the side of the road, you should be calling your man first and not your daddy.
Yep.
I'm your zaddy now. So you call me. You know what I'm saying? And that's the way it should go. You should be able to depend on him in those types of ways, like he can depend on you in the ways that he needs you also. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not one-sided. You just have to be able to balance it. If you're doing something one-sided, you need to go
Mm-hmm.
because that dude is not where you want to be at because he's not being fair within the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So you just have to, balance what you're doing and give that same energy to the man that he should be giving you.
Yeah. I think one of the issues that I've heard that women have, particularly in terms of the wifely duties versus husbandly duties, is that
Mm-hmm.
the wifely duties are all the time, right? So we need to eat multiple times a day. We have to cook multiple times a day. We have to clean multiple times a week. How many times
Mm-hmm.
am I going to get a flag? How many times do you have to defend me in a fight as we walk down the street? It just feels as though like the expectation is that a woman would be showing what she has to offer consistently,
Well,
where it would be circumstantial, where a man would have the opportunity to show his husbandly behavior.
I don't think it's circumstantial because I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're talking about some people that's living together, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if a man and a woman is living together, that dude is supposed to be providing in that household.
Mm-hmm.
That's not every now and then. That's
Mm-hmm.
every month paying bill. He should be taking if he can't pay 100% of the bills, he should be paying the bulk if that's what his pockets allow. In my book, this is just my book, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in that case, he's showing his husbandly duty, his husbandly quality every single month when these here bills are paid.
Mm-hmm.
Can't nobody run up in here either. So it's things that the men are doing also. They might not be on paper where he cooking all the time and you can see that, but you got these lights on in here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You got this
I don't
roof
know,
over your
SD.
head.
I think that you're a little dated in the
And
financial
what?
aspect. I think a lot of
What you mean?
couples I think a lot of couples aren't doing the 80-20 or the 70-30. I think it's a lot more
Really?
50-50. And that's where the frustration comes in, that if we're doing things financially 50-50, which is
Mm-hmm.
not outrageous in 2022, 2023, and
Yeah.
especially if you're living in LA or New York, right? It's not
Yeah.
outrageous to do the 50-50, but then we're
get
doing
it.
the 50-50 financially, but we're not doing the 50-50 in, you know, in terms of the upkeep of the household. So
Hmm.
that's where a big frustration comes in. So you want me to do the majority of the housework, but you're not doing the majority of finances. I appreciate you, and I hear it's your book. So we're not saying that you're wrong or that's not your experience, but I'm
Yeah.
seeing it in the comments, and I'm telling you, in many cases, it ain't 80-20 no more.
Well, I mean, you know, I don't believe in 50-50. That's just me. That's
Mm-hmm.
just me, and I get it that some people can't afford to do, what I'm saying, that, and I understand it. But you know, one thing I believe in more than these here gender roles and how it's supposed to go, I believe in
Mm-hmm.
being fair. I believe in being fair. I think that's why you said you brought me on here. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yes.
I believe in being fair. So if you don't make enough money and you have to go 50-50, that's fine doing y'all thing. But on the flip side of that, bro, you should not be sitting at home waiting for your girl to come home to wash dishes or fix something to eat.
Mm-hmm.
I just, you know what I'm saying? I don't believe in 50-50, and I wouldn't do that now because I
Mm-hmm.
like to cook. I know how to cook. I've been doing it for 41 years. Like, I know what to do on my own, cook
Mm-hmm.
and clean. I'm not going to sit around and wait for no woman to do it. But if she's required to provide 50% of the financials, then you got to help her on her end as much as you can too. It's only fair.
Mm-hmm.
That's the fair thing to do. And if a woman is in a relationship with a dude, or before she even get there, and he wants her to pay half the bills, but he don't want to help with the upkeep of the home and with the cleaning and the cooking or whatever the case, then she shouldn't even get serious with a dude like that. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? So I don't think women should just automatically disqualify a guy if he needs to go 50-50. There's some good dudes out there that don't make, you know what I'm saying, enough money to be able to handle most of the load on their own. And a lot of women don't either.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only right if y'all get together and pool your resources together and live good. But make sure that he is fair, and guys, make sure that she is fair also on her end. And you'll be all right. I don't believe in one-sided anything.
Understood. Understood. SD, we're gonna wrap it up here. Do you
All right.
have a final thought, a last piece of advice, something that you think that you didn't get out today? I didn't ask you the right questions. I didn't get it out of you, but you cannot
Yeah.
leave this live until you share this piece of information with us.
Oh man. Ladies, a lot of times, when y'all hear certain information, especially from men, y'all have to be able to discern information from advice and apply it to your life, right? So information, the things that I'm giving you all right now is just information on how a lot of men go about their lives out here in the dating world. And a lot of you all can attest to it with the guys that you've dated out here. And so you have to be able to look at these here things and then make adjustments to how you date, and try to understand men better, because you'll have a lot better dating experience if you just understand men, understand the things that we do and how we do it, learn how to avoid the types of men you don't want, and then learn how to accept and sit back and love on the men that you do want.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be able to not get in your feelings about certain things and discern, the information that you need, and kick out the rest of the nonsense. So,
Well said. Well said, SD. Can you give us your socials, your podcast? Let us know where we can find you, how we can get with you, professionally.
of
How can we
course,
connect?
everything is professional. Well, this is my page, the whole face expert, the underscore whole underscore whole face expert. Yeah, y'all heard it. Anyway, YouTube is the same thing, the whole face expert, and then the podcast is in my bio. It's called Hold a Husband Podcast. So that's how you can find me. If you got any questions, shoot me a DM and I try to get to them. I got so many of them, but I do appreciate you for having me on.
Oh, yes, 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 yes. And I hope that we can get together for tonight's conversation for the next season that's recording. I couldn't come out last
Yeah,
season because I was pregnant. I'm too far along to fly. But hopefully we can get
yeah,
together and we can have some respectful
of course,
disagreements
of
like I like
course.
to do.
Hey, me too. You already know I'm with it.
Absolutely. All right, folks, it's been a pleasure. This live will be saved. Thank you so much, SD, and have a good night to everybody.
All right.
Bye.
You too. Later.